get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying. You know, I've been waiting.
What are you...
for my...
What the fuck? Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you had a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. Buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is that Gadot video with all those other celebrities. You see her with the likes of Natalie, Portman, Jimmy Fallon, Will Ferrell, and a ton of others, all filming at least a line to cover John Lennon's Imagine, right, in an effort to uplift people on lockdown around the world. Gadot saying that over the past few days she's gotten philosophical and also...
You know, this virus had affected the entire world. Everyone. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, we're all in this together.
And going on to say she was inspired to do this because of a video of an Italian trumpet player performing a song on his balcony for his quarantined neighbors. And ultimately, we got the full video, and then it was actually met with a large amount of backlash in the comments section. And then also, especially on Twitter, right? And in general, you have people making jokes about this video, saying that these are just wealthy stars who are out of touch. With comments like, everyone in this video can afford to sit this crisis out while the rest of us are in danger of losing our homes, jobs, access to healthcare, etc. But hey, at least they got together to sing this tune to, quote, comfort us. What a contribution, I feel better already. But despite all of the backlash, of course, there were also people who found the video heartwarming, appreciated the message and effort, right? Some defending the stars against criticism, saying, you know, this video was made with good intentions. One, here, I will admit that I am a little bit biased, especially since Gadot didn't use my clip. Imagine all the people cringing to this song. Obviously, a joke. Two, the video is a little bit cringe. Three, it doesn't make me dislike any of these celebrities. I do think that their intentions were good. I do think in moments like this, we do need to come together more. But also, four, I genuinely understand the anger people could feel in moments like this. You have these people, these celebrities who, yes, just like you, they're gonna have to worry about the coronavirus, but to a much smaller degree. If your world's on fire right now, next week, the next month, that is uncertain times for you. And then you see someone who in no world is going to experience the level of struggle that you're going to experience, you're not going to be inclined to react positively to them. Right? And the thing is, since this started and it will continue moving forward every day, the differences between celebrities and everyday people is becoming more and more apparent. For example, you look to the NBA, right? NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has said that 8 full teams have been tested for COVID-19, right? And that's a ton of people, and it is in stark contrast to the many Americans struggling to just get their hands on a test when they're going in with symptoms, let alone the number of rich people and celebrities being tested with no symptoms, right? And so their swift access to these tests had a lot of people raising their eyebrows. This including New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, who said, "We wish them a speedy recovery, but with all due respect, an entire NBA team should not get tested for COVID-19 while there are critically ill patients waiting to be tested. Tests should not be for the wealthy, but for the sick." Now, the Nats are one of the teams that kind of the focal point of this story. They've defended their ability to test players, saying their close proximity and frequent travel justifies the need for testing. Also saying they acquired the test privately and did not get them from the CDC as to not strain public resources. And regarding the situation, there was this really notable moment, right? Trump was asked if stars can or should have easier access to testing. And he said this.
Well, you'd have to ask them that question. I mean, I've read. No, I wouldn't say so, but perhaps that's been the story of life.
Right, and the thing is, I think a lot of people in everyday life go, yeah, the story of life, but now we're in this world of it is a story of life and death. And so understandably, you have people looking at celebrities of all kinds, like Kris Jenner being tested negative for the virus. She got it despite displaying no symptoms, but said that she attended a birthday party for someone who tested positive, though it is worth noting that party was 16 days prior to her announcing this test. Though, to be fair, not all celebrities have been able to waltz into a clinic of their choosing, get tested immediately. Or we saw the likes of Heidi Klum posting on her Instagram story that she had symptoms that were in line with the coronavirus, but was told by 2 doctors she could not get tested. Though, there is a chance that her messages online had an impact, and this because not too long after saying this, she was able to get tested. But still, with this, you're seeing everyday people frustrated, if not outright furious, with people sharing stories like, "My brother has a fever of 103 and respiratory problems, and his coworker tested positive for COVID-19. ER sent him home and told him, quote, 'We don't have enough tests to test you,' and told him to self-quarantine and not to go to work." Yet Kris Jenner can get tested with no symptoms? We also saw doctors chiming in saying things like, "As predicted, COVID-19 is exposing all of the societal inequities. It's upsetting for me, 1, to have to ration out COVID-19 testing to my patients, then 2, have to wait 5 to 7 days for the results when celebrities are getting tested with ease and quick turnaround times." And so a byproduct of this pandemic isn't that it's creating more inequality, it's just that it's highlighting heavily on the one that already exists. Right? And the anger and frustration, it's not just associated with the fact that a celebrity can get the knowledge if they have something or they don't have it. It's also the fact that everyday people do not have the knowledge if tomorrow is going to be okay. Right? And that's because just in part, over the last week, we've been seeing just wave after wave of layoffs. In fact, the Labor Department reported this morning that 281,000 people applied for unemployment benefits just last week. That is up 33% from the previous week, and economists expect the situation to get much, much worse, saying that more than 1 million people are on track to lose their jobs by the end of the month. And while that number is shocking, it is also not necessarily surprising. I mean, stocks have been plummeting. A lot of the economy is grinding to a standstill. We've seen more and more businesses shutting down because of the coronavirus. Places like bars, restaurants, gyms, malls. I mean, just yesterday we saw reports that companies like Marriott are furloughing tens of thousands of employees. And to make matters harder here, layoffs have also put a massive strain on unemployment offices. We're seeing reports of people waiting on the phone for hours. You also had so many people trying to file for unemployment benefits in states like New York, Oregon, and New Jersey that their websites ended up crashing. Right, and of course, part of this is because of how fast unemployment is rising, but it's also because a lot of state unemployment offices didn't expect such a rapid surge. And so many have low levels of staffing. Right, you have inadequate staffing in a situation where right now this has happened so fast that unemployment numbers are on pace to do in a number of weeks what it took the 2008 recession months to do. Also, one of the big notes that I want to hit on here is that a number of people are finding out they don't even qualify for unemployment. Right? For example, in the Washington Post, there's a story of a 30-year-old Army vet named Sean McGuire. He lost his job as a dishwasher in Portland because of the coronavirus, and he told the Post, "I was on hold with the Oregon Department of Labor for over an hour. They were inundated. When I finally spoke to a person, they told me I don't qualify." And reportedly, this is because McGuire had moved to Oregon from New York at the beginning of the year. And so that unfortunately meant that he hadn't worked in Oregon long enough to qualify for state benefits. So after that, he tries applying online in New York, and he said that the website ended up crashing, so he ended up calling the unemployment office. And there, after another long wait, he was told once again that he did not qualify, this time because he had quit his job in New York. And the thing is, there are a lot of people who currently do not qualify for unemployment in their state, and they are going to find out soon. This including gig workers, tipped workers, full-time students. In fact, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, 16 states have such restrictive criteria that less than 20% of laid-off workers even qualify for unemployment benefits. But let's say for a second that you do qualify for unemployment in your state. One, you could be in a state where you have to sit in a week-long waiting list before you can see any payment. Or two, you might find that the average weekly payment of $385 just is not enough. You know, and regarding this situation, you had labor economist Martha Gimbel saying, workers expect unemployment insurance to be there for them in a downturn. A bunch of workers are about to find out that it's not. This is a real-life nightmare. Every hole we allowed to grow in our social safety net is hitting us all at once. Now, with all of that said, as far as what is being done to fix this problem, we've seen states like Texas and Pennsylvania loosening rules around their unemployment benefits, temporarily scrapping their waiting week provision. Also, yesterday we saw the U.S. Senate pass a bipartisan bill that would provide sick pay and free testing. Notably, though, that bill also includes $2 billion to state unemployment insurance programs. That bill received House approval earlier this week, and yesterday evening, President Trump signed it into law. So that bill is expected to provide some relief, but it is not a cure-all. I mean, even before this pandemic started, you already had 23 states running low on their unemployment trust funds, which, you know, is part of the reason why we're seeing another big push by the Trump administration and a lot of lawmakers to get checks in the hands of Americans. Right, and obviously, this is something that the federal government, the state governments, just the businesses themselves are all having to figure out. And obviously, this is still a developing situation. We're going to keep our eye on it, still report on it. But to briefly bring it back to the initial thing that took us down this winding road, I understand why there was genuine anger in the backlash towards these celebrities that, you know, they were doing something somewhat harmless, but it was cringeworthy and somewhat disconnected. The inequality between certain people, the differences in those lives is more apparent than ever, and it's not in a flex a watch, flex a car sort of way, but in a life or death way. And when people are fearful, that easily leads to anger. And some of the trends that we're seeing on Google over the past week: 4,400% increase in unemployment during coronavirus searches. Is the world economy crashing? Increased by 4,350%. Will supermarkets be closing? 4,600%. And kind of funny enough, it brings us back to the importance of trying to spread the message that we are not alone in this. And everyone's experiences right now will not be the same, because life is not fair that way. It is the unfortunate reality of this situation, but we can be there for one another in different ways. For those that do have, you can look up local businesses and not-for-profits online, see how you can help. Also, for example, the Center for Disaster Philanthropy recommends directing donations to free clinics in areas hit the hardest by the outbreak. And for those who don't have, or just for everyone, on Tuesday, the American Red Cross and America's Blood Centers announced that the United States is facing a severe blood shortage. This following thousands of blood drives across the country getting canceled because of the outbreak. Or you have the Red Cross's leaders saying that they're taking additional steps to keep all donors safe. And so you have the organizations encouraging anyone who is healthy and eligible to give blood or platelets to make an appointment to donate through the Red Cross. And just in general, reaching out to one another. I've probably talked to my mom and dad more in the last week than in like the last few months, right? And so it's true for everyone, right? Just to talk, to keep in contact with everyone, obviously over devices, right? Everyone should be as safe as possible. You know, emotional support is a thing for everyone, but also especially for those in the scariest groups to this virus. If there is a time where people are supposed to stay away from one another, but we can actually come together more emotionally than ever, it is now. But ultimately, that's where I'm gonna end this story. And of course, just pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts around any and all of those things that we talked about? Also, what are you experiencing right now? But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today and awesome, sponsored by my own dang self, specifically shop.DeFranco.com, where today we launched some oldies and some new goodies. If you've missed the days of being able to get our sports shirt, boom, it is back. We've also launched another one with different colors, as well as the brand new sports track jacket. It goes with the shirt, or really with anything else, it'll look great. I'm a big fan of the feel in general, the thumb holes, just the overall thing. And 2 notes here. 1, for the next 24 hours, if you use code TAKE15 off, you will get 15% off. And 2, the money that I'm supposed to get from the sales of these shirts this week, I'm just gonna donate. And so if you wanna grab it while you can, link down below, or just go to shop.DeFranco.com. And the first bit of awesome today is actually uploaded 2 other videos. The videos with the fantastic Dr. Mike, and 1, it's more lighthearted, talking about him just being a hot doctor. And also 2, we had this really important and hopefully enlightening conversation around vaccines, anti-vaxxers, the whole thing. Go check out those videos, subscribe to the channel. Then we got Big Sean on Hot Ones. The New Yorker showed us the coronavirus's impact on Chinatown. Ted gave us the imaginary king who changed the real world. Binging with Babish gave us Chickpeas. We had Guy Pearce breaking down his most iconic characters. In a Nutshell gave us a fantastic video on the coronavirus explained and what you should do. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then, if just briefly we should update the numbers regarding the coronavirus that we were seeing worldwide and locally. According to the most recent numbers as of filming this video, there have now been over 227,000 cases of the coronavirus worldwide. And notably now, based off of the public numbers, Italy has the highest death count, coming in now at around 3,500 deaths, which is really concerning news to see in general, but also very interesting because it comes at a time not only when Italy is expected to extend their lockdown, but also when it's been reported that in the last 24 hours there have been no new domestic cases anywhere in China, including in Wuhan where the outbreak began. Now, as far as the United States, as of 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there were 10,755 confirmed cases, the total number of deaths at 154, the number of recoveries 106. We also saw the news today that Australia and New Zealand are now closing their borders to foreign travelers in response to the virus. Britain has reportedly closed schools for all children unless their parents are key workers in professions like healthcare or law enforcement. We've also seen the news that Ford and General Motors are looking into making medical equipment, specifically ventilators. Ventilators, if you don't know, have been key in trying to help those who have the coronavirus. And this move, if it happens, would be notable because according to reports, there are only about 62,000 ventilators in the entire United States. And then let's talk about young people and the coronavirus, though it needs to start with this clip.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying. You know, we've been waiting for Miami spring break for a while. About 2 months we've had this trip planned. 2-3 months. So we're just out here having a good time.
So, in part, this story deals with spring breakers again. We talked about it earlier this week. You had young spring breakers still partying on crowded beaches while a lot of you were probably home, like just going, turns out I watched the entirety of Netflix. I didn't know that was possible, but here we are. Or you're out in the world, but not because you want to be recreationally, but because you have literally no other choice. And following those videos, the video I just showed you, there was a ton of backlash. We even saw Florida Governor Ron DeSantis responding by closing all bars and clubs for 30 days, limiting beach parties to 10 people. But still, as you can see from Brady Sluter, who looks like a guy that would be an aspiring SoundCloud rapper, but he can't figure out SoundCloud yet, it's still not stopping these bright young minds who are gonna lead us into the next stage. Also, in Brady's defense, he wasn't the only dumb asshole.
Like, it's really messing up with my spring break. What is there to do here other than go to the bars or the beach, and they're closing all of it? It's really messing up. I think they're blowing it way out of proportion. I think it's doing way too much.
Doing us bad. We need a refund. This virus ain't that serious. It's serious. It's more serious things out there like hunger and poverty, and we need to address that.
Now, of course, my response to this is, don't be stupid. Stupid? But also, I say that understanding, having realized over the last 13, 14 years of doing this, is that stupid will always find a way. You never really stop stupid. It's just so dense and powerful. But that said, I still want to try to appeal to some. Because if I can't appeal to you by letting you know about the risk that you might present to a parent or a grandparent or someone else who is just immunocompromised, then maybe I can appeal to something that you seemingly ooze of, and that is self-interest. Brady, it turns out you and your friends are not invincible just because you are young and healthy, right? It doesn't mean you will not get the virus. And I say that because according to a new report released yesterday by the CDC, out of the 508 patients known to have been hospitalized in the United States, 20% of them were between the ages of 20 and 44. Now still, I do want to point out that the vast majority of deaths, about 80%, were from people 65 and older, but also I'm guessing the potential for you to be hospitalized, not a good prospect, I hope. But also, one of the most shocking things from this report was the number of younger people who tested positive for the coronavirus. Of the 2,449 patients with known age, 29% were between the ages of 20 and 44, and more than half were under the age of 65, meaning that people under the age of 65 were statistically just as likely to get the virus and have conditions serious enough to be hospitalized as those who are over. Though, we should note that there are more people in the general population who are between the ages of 0 and 65 than those who are 65 and older. So that could be part of the reason we're seeing these numbers, which is hard evidence that contradicts the common narrative that people under 65 are just significantly less at risk. And understand, I'm saying they are less at risk for dying, but not for getting the virus or being hospitalized. And even beyond that, we've also seen reports that some people who get over the virus still have lasting issues. According to a physician and health systems expert at Mount Sinai Health System and Icahn School of Medicine, lots of young people are getting hospitalized. A lot more than we're messaging, and yes, maybe you don't die, but living with a damaged lung or damaged organ is not a good outcome. Right, so essentially he's trying to convey that Kelly Clarkson is full of shit. What doesn't kill you doesn't make you stronger. And specifically in this instance, it can result in you being hospitalized, give you organ damage, and just, main point, don't be stupid. Stupid? And that is where I'm going to end today's show. And hey, if you like this video, hit us with a like. If you think more people could benefit from straightforward news, more common sense stuff, share the video. Also, if you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button, ring that bell to turn on notifications. Also, if you're looking for more to watch, I just put out 2 new videos with Dr. Mike, or maybe you just missed the last Philip DeFranco show, you want to catch up, you can click your tab right there to watch right now. I say words real good. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow. Because there's a Friday show. Did you already forget? How dare you?
I hope you liked this video. Subscribe if you like it.